Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel where I give my 2 cents on all things TV and film, and today we are talking about All American Season 7 Episode 6, Return of the Mac. I thoroughly enjoyed this episode. I thought it was a lot of fun. There was a lot of screaming from me, from cringy things, cringy good and cringy bad, but cringy nonetheless, and just lots of screams, lots of laughs from me. First, let's get it out of the way. Coop and Patience, break up. Alright, now we can move on to all of the other things. Okay, let's talk about the kids, because the fake dating was super awkward, but also super hilarious at the same time. And it was just everything I ever wanted it to be. This, dare I say, Core 4 or new Core 4 is so much fun. Like, the boys don't like each other and the girls seem to not like each other either, but it is great to watch. I am loving their dynamic and their chemistry with each other. It's fantastic. And next week they're gonna be wilding out, and I can't wait because it's gonna be so much more messy and so much more fun. Like, this is the drama that I've been waiting for this whole entire season, and it looks like we're finally gonna get it. A house party will be thrown, people will be splitting off, things will be happening, parents will be breaking in and breaking all this stuff up, and I can't wait to sit back and laugh and just enjoy all of the drama and all of the mess. Now Jordan. When he introduced GW and Bobby, I'm still screaming from the secondhand embarrassment from that whole scene. Like, I was really excited to rewatch this episode, but that moment I can never watch again, and I could do without for the rest of my life. Like, I had such a visceral reaction to it. I wanted to like envelop into myself and just disappear. It's almost as if I was like allergic to it. Like, I can't, like, I knew it was gonna be bad, but dear God, was it bad? Like, you see this? That's me just thinking about it. So imagine what was happening while I was trying to watch it, because I was covering my eyes pretty much the entire time. So, moving on from that so I can be calm. It looks like they are dropping the uncle storyline like a hot potato, and if that's the case, what exactly are we doing with Jordan moving forward? Because from the looks of it, after this episode, it kind of feels like we're just making him Billy 2.0, and I don't particularly like that. I'd rather him like walk into, or continue to walk into, his manhood as himself and not trying to be anyone else. I thought that we were over the hump of him trying to do what other people wanted him to do, or what he thought other people wanted him to do, and he was just gonna like be his own man. But now it just looks like he's trying to be the next Billy, and depending on what happens further, will determine obviously whether or not I'm okay with that. Maybe he's just having a little mini identity crisis right now and he gets over that hump again. But let's just not have him be Billy 2.0. Also, can we start seeing Jordan be successful in this season? Because after that whole fiasco and him and Bobby talked, at first I thought Bobby said that he was proving him wrong and this was a step in the right direction. But upon rewatch, it turns out that he actually said, "You have not proven me wrong." And so he still basically kind of hates Jordan. And like, I just am wondering when all of this is going to be resolved, and when he's actually going to be going down a successful path where people are not hating him the entire time, and he can finally just like do his job and be good at it and have these good, co-worker at least relationships and stuff like that. Looked like things were changing with Cassius, and that's great. Maybe it's because he finally found out that Layla was his wife and they're kind of cool now. But like, I just need for Jordan to get some wins. Like, it's been 6 episodes and he's just basically getting beat on figuratively this entire time. So like, can he start walking into some success and catch some W's and get in the good graces of his boss, and be his own man, like soon? Not by the finale, but like, of course by the finale, but can it happen before then? is what I'm asking. Please. Okay, now into the thing that I probably have the most thoughts about, and that is Khalil moving in to the Baker household. This is the thing that I was kind of alluding to in my last video that I needed some more confirmation on, but now that we've actually seen it officially happen, I'm just gonna unleash all of my thoughts now. Everything that I said, all of the thoughts, all of the observations, here they come. So first things first, I wish that this wasn't a like direct mirror to Billy and Spencer. Like, I know Preach is, I guess, in a rival gang, and so that would be like a huge conflict if it was Preach being the one taking him in, but I probably would have preferred that more than what we have right now, because there's still that gang connection. Preach got out and has like become successful with his life, and which, like, I know Khalil is not in a gang, but he still has that connection to one with his dad, and so Preach really knows what he's going through. It has even more of an idea of what he's going through compared to Jordan, and I just would have preferred to see him be the one to take him under his wing. He's his teacher. I know he's not his coach, but still, like, he's still a mentor, father figure type person in his life. And it would have even paralleled like Olivia and Spencer. I don't even know if Khalil and Amina are endgame, but just them being under one roof but having Preach keep like eyes on him at all times. It would have been a parallel, but completely different from what we got earlier in the series. But with it being Jordan, like, duh, it's a clear mirror of what Billy did with Spencer. And, you know, side note, this is probably going to make me sound like a horrible person. I know that. I'm aware of it. You can tell me. I don't care. But, like, I'm borderline, maybe even not borderline. I just am sick of the whole Billy talk. Like, he's gone. Yes, they're grieving. Grief is weird. We've all experienced it. Unfortunately, myself. Fortunately, other people have experienced it. We know how it can make people feel, but it's the fact that it feels like it is being brought up every episode since it happened, and the kind of like erasure of how bad of a person Billy was. I mean, like, no, we're not expecting them to be glad that he's gone, but them continuing to just act like he's been the best person this entire time is kind of frustrating. And it also does feel like can the show move on from him? Like, do they really have to mention him this much all of the time? Like, it's a little frustrating. And I know that probably makes me sound like a horrible person because, like, don't say bad things about the dead, but it's like, enough is enough. Like, you don't have to do it this much. You don't have to constantly be reminded of him this much. That's my little side note, but let's circle back to what we were talking about. So like I said, this is just a direct mirror of what happened with Billy and Spencer. Now it's Jordan and Khalil. And generally speaking, overall, this is an issue that I have with shows that enter their like next generation era, is the storylines. And are they going to come completely fresh with new things? Are they going to parallel stuff that happened in the past? Or are they just basically going to do exactly like they did in the past? Like I said, mirror it, kind of like copy and paste. And even though there are some like differences in this situation, like, it's very obvious that this is just the same thing happening over again. And I mean, this is the beginning of it. So, and obviously, like, there are differences, so it isn't going to be exactly the same, but it's like it feels like we literally just watched this happen with Billy and Spencer. I know that was like seasons ago, but like, we have all of these fresh faces. We could have done fresher storylines instead of just continuing to just follow this pattern in this way. Like, it's like, it's his son, it's that house. Like, if it was a different person and it was a different location, like, obviously it would feel the same, but it wouldn't feel exactly the same, but it feels exactly the same. And so that's why it's a little frustrating. So there is only one reason why I would be okay with the trajectory of the storyline going the way it is. And I have a strong feeling that this is what they are trying to do or what they're setting up for. And in order for me to say that, it requires me to dive into my Jordan and Layla observation that I was talking about in my previous video. So buckle up, here it goes. I'm just gonna unleash it all to y'all now. With them in their relationship, the pattern that I've seen is that we see things happen with them in their relationship before we get it officially. Like they go through it first and then it's like actually solidified. So like way back when, after the whole thing with Carrie happened, he was there for her. And, you know, there were obviously people were like, when are they going to get together, including myself. So it was kind of like we were seeing how they would look in that type of relationship before it happened, and then what happened at the end of that season. They kiss for the first time, and then we see them in that kind of relationship. And while we're seeing them in that kind of relationship, they're in it and they're basically just like, you're it for me. Like whatever the line is, I'd rather fight with you than like be out here in the streets with somebody else. And then what happens at the end of that season? They get engaged. And then while they're engaged, they basically go through wedding vow stuff, like in sickness and in health, specifically with her. And they basically spoke to each other in wedding vows the entire time. And then, of course, at the end of the last season, they get married. And so now, what do we see? They're taking in a teenager, but they're taking in a child, and they're going to be parental figures to this person now. So what is the next thing that happens in the pattern is that we see it before it happens for them officially. So that's just my guess, that like in the end they'll have their own actual child on the way after all of this happens. You can continue to call me delusional about it. I will just call myself paying attention and noticing a pattern. But yeah, that's the only reason why I would be okay with this, is if in the end it comes to find out that Layla is pregnant at the end of this, and now they get to have their own child, and hopefully maybe we get to see it and the show gets renewed. But yeah, that's pretty much all of the thoughts that I have on this. It's just right now in this moment, because we don't have the whole picture, it's kind of frustrating to think about. And it's also equally as frustrating not having the whole picture and knowing that this is all just speculation and possibilities, and that anything could happen, and that in the end the pattern that I am noticing doesn't actually happen, and we don't see that. But yeah, that's what we get for being in this moment and having a show that isn't a bingeable thing, and the episodes are weekly. So yeah, those are pretty much all of the thoughts that have been ruminating in my mind for a few weeks and on this episode. Please tell me what y'all have thought. Did you enjoy this episode as much as I did? Because it was a really fun episode, I'm not gonna lie. I was laughing, it was great, it was a great time. But we needed to get some things off of our chest. Well, I need to get some things off of my chest about all of the other stuff that had went down. So let me know how you are feeling about all of these things. This is kind of like the halfway point, kind of, sort of. There's an odd number of episodes, so this ish is kind of the halfway point. So how are you feeling for the rest of the season so far? I know I'm just kind of like waiting to see what happens next and try not to get too super worked up and upset about things, because a lot of the times when I do that, it doesn't even matter after the fact. So that's where I am. Where are you? What are your thoughts? Are you frustrated? Are you upset? Are you chilling? Are you good? Is everything fine? Like, let me know in the comments. Let's have a conversation. Find me on Twitter. Let's talk about it. Let's chat. Do all of those things. And I will see y'all next week. Bye.